This is the round ahead. Thanks to Cole, Sarah Olle back with Josh Gabelich and Chad Wingard as we build up towards a bumper round 20. So let's take a look at that fixture now. It all begins on Thursday night between Carlton and Hawthorn. Then on Friday, it's a double header at Marvel Stadium. We start, then it's over to NG Stadium. And then on Saturday, it is the Lions taking on the Swans before a derby or derby, depending where you're from. Out west, it's the Roos and the Cats, and then a showdown. Kenny's last one to conclude Saturday's action. On Sunday, it's just the two fixtures. They're both in Melbourne at the MCG. It is Richmond and Collingwood before St Kilda and Melbourne close out round 20. But round 20, it all begins on Thursday night at Marvel Stadium, thanks to Coles, Hawthorn and Carlton. And Josh, it's going to be a swan song for a much-loved blue in Sam Docherty, really the personification of bravery on and off the field.
Spot on, Sarah. I mean, his footy CV is awesome when you consider a John Nichols medal and an All-Australian blazer, but it really only tells part of his story when you consider what he's been through. So much adversity, not just the 3 knee reconstructions, of course, but the 2 bouts of testicular cancer. He has been such an inspiration for the cancer community and for footy more broadly, and I love to see him get a farewell game, massive occasion against another powerhouse in the competition. But he's been an incredible player and an incredible person in the game.
Absolutely. Chad, I mean, you would have played against him at times. Do you reckon that this kind of player, who the Blues clearly love there, could the side get up for him, do you think, in that one last game?
Yeah, all milestone games, you've got to get up for these guys, especially when he's the heart and soul of that team. And like I said, they're not playing for finals, so this is obviously something that they can play for and hold their hat on end of the season. Now,
Will Day, this is a player we haven't seen for Hawthorn since round 3. Josh, though, is he coming back in?
You bet he is, Sarah. Massive inclusion, straight back in. He was cleared last Friday, had that final scan on his foot, and he's been back in full training for the best part of a month and been able to do a lot more training than even they expected across this block. He really has raced back in a way that has him primed now with 5 games ahead of a final series to get back to his absolute best ahead of September. So massive inclusion for them, but he has missed so much footy, hasn't he? But we did see Hayden Young come back in on Sunday
as a sub.
Was used as the sub. I don't believe Will Day will be used as the sub. I think the plan for him right now is to play around 70% of game time. Clearly that can change on game night, but he is good to go.
Now, I said this game is at Marvel Stadium. My mistake, it's at the MCG, so make sure you head to the right venue if you are going. Jarman Impey is a former teammate of yours, Chad, and he is in ripping form, coming off 3 goals and 26 disposals. I feel like a bit of an underrated character at the Hawks, but so important to how they play.
Well, he's the most likeable player in the AFL at the moment. He just works so hard, and at the moment, on the weekend, he played a little bit up forward in the last quarter and he kicked those 3 goals, but had 5 shots on goal. He led the team with the game-high 3 goals, game-high 7 score involvements, and he was super potent in the half back line in that first half of the game as well. But now Hawthorn have got Impey, Hardwick and Sicily, who play in the back line, who can go forward and make an impact if they need to in the forward half, the last part of the year.
The Cristiano Ronaldo celebration.
He loves it. He loves it.
Now, Josh, you're going to get up for the player portrait because we are sticking with the brown and gold theme. And this one really has been more than 12 months in the making, because that's when Mitch Lewis, he underwent a knee reconstruction, and Josh has been there for every step of the way.
Well, Sarah, last Saturday in Launceston, Mitch Lewis returned to the AFL 378 days after his 2024 campaign ended at GMHBA Stadium. In that moment, he thought he'd done his MCL, not his ACL. But 2 days later, scan results shocked the Hawthorn Football Club. A call from the club doctor, Liam West, changed everything. Across the past 12 months, I've followed the 26-year-old's return from an injury that players fear more than any other injury. I've spoken to surgeons, specialists and many at the Hawks to piece together the lonely road back from a very public injury. Footy has a short memory. Players don't want to be forgotten. They know someone will take their place. It's an exhausting process, not just physically, but emotionally, day in, day out, for the best part of a year. Now, a central part of Mitch's rehab was a trip to Philadelphia in January to work with ACL guru Bill Knowles. This guy has worked with players from 14 AFL clubs over the past 20 years, starting with Max Rook at Geelong, plus the likes of Tiger Woods, Peyton Manning and Johnny Wilkinson. If he can't help you, almost no one can. Physically, no one helped him more at Hawthorn than rehab boss Jack Price. But psychologically, sports psych Ed Barlow was there every step of the way. A knee reconstruction leaves scars. Some are seen, but others are hidden. Hawthorn returned to September without Mitch Lewis last year. Now the key forward has returned just in time to put his hand up for a finals campaign. And now he's back in business with a new perspective. He knows one fall, and by extension one call, can change absolutely everything.
And if you want to learn more about Mitch Lewis and his recovery, Josh has an incredible big feature, I think 8,000 words. So head to afl.com.au and the AFL Live app and watch Thursday night for a Coles goal and an exclusive Coles offer. But let's get into the next game. It's a big one at People First Stadium between Gold Coast and Brisbane. We know the Swans, Chad, they failed tremendously on the big stage last weekend, absolutely humiliated by Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. I'm just wondering, with this short turnaround, how did Damien Hardwick's side bounce back? Because it's another big opponent in last year's reigning premier.
Yeah, being a 6-day break, normally on an 8-day break you have 2 sessions, so 2 training sessions. So on a 6-day break, they're probably only going to have the 1. So it's more of a mental whack if you think of it like that. They're going to break down the game, especially that first half, because they were dismal. The second half, they played a little bit better. But like you said, they have to come out with the next approach, and how they do that is they train hard for that 1 session, but they have to pump themselves up as well, because you've got to have that belief. You can't whack them all 6 days and then they rock up to the game day and they give the same performance. But they're going to have a lot to think about. Obviously, Daniel Rioli missing as well. Like, Josh, that's a big loss for them.
It is, because he's been so important to their success this year, Chad. He's been one of the recruits of the year alongside John Noble, and he's got a cracked fibula, had surgery at the start of the week. Means he's going to miss probably the rest of the home and away season. For him to play again in 2025, they are most likely going to need to play finals. So they do have Joel Jeffrey, who's been great, but Dan Rioli is going to be a huge loss, Sarah.
And they're coming up against Brisbane, so a really ferocious opponent. I feel like Chris Fagan, he's got this team absolutely firing on all cylinders. The veterans are doing their things, but some of the younger Lion Cubs, we're calling them, are also firing and absolutely starring. There they are, the Lion Cubs. We've got Logan Morris, we've got the Ashcroft brothers. We've got Mufasa, I think. That's Chris Fagan there. But Jasper Fletcher, Josh, is fresh off signing a new deal, and he really is a player of the future, isn't he?
He certainly is, Sarah. And when you play alongside the Ashcrofts, you almost go under the radar. And I know you're not missing him, but he is going incredibly well. Since making his debut in the middle of 2023, he's played 59 games straight. That includes both grand finals. He's got a premiership medal at home. But he's been a revelation at halfback. He's so damaging and really is forming one of the more formidable halfback pairings in the comp when you factor his role with Dane Zorko coming out of the back line. So I love what he's doing, and I think you need to pay a bit more attention to him, because it has been all about, not you, but other people, because it has been all about Levi and Will and Logan, but Jasper's going really well.
3 father sons in there, not bad. Brisbane are doing rather well in that department. Let's get to the game on Friday night at NG Stadium between the Giants and the Swans. The Swans have actually won the last 5 in a row, but the Giants have some big inclusions. Jesse Hogan, Sam Taylor and also Josh Kelly set to return. Another veteran, Josh, who's made his way back into the side is Stephen Coniglio. And you've written a story this week which involves Coniglio, Nat Fyfe and Botox. I'm interested. Tell me more.
Well, Sarah, there's a moral to this story. When Nat Fyfe texts you out of the blue, suggesting you try a Botox injection, you need to listen. Stephen Coniglio did, and it worked. And it worked at a time where he had missed the best part of 3 months of footy due to a mysterious glute injury, which they just couldn't solve. Matty Cameron is one of the most experienced physio in the comp. He's been working in footy for 30 years. They tried everything. They really tried everything. But out of the blue one day, Nat Fyfe messaged Steve Coniglio and said, why don't you try Botox? Nat Fyfe has been through the ringer with his body over the journey. We know that. He's had so many issues, but this has worked. It's incredible to think that something like that would work, and to even have to say to your wife, by the way, I'm going to get a Botox injection, but it's going...
She might ask 2 for 1.
In my bum.
Oh, so, in the bum, yeah, that's different.
Yeah. But it's worked, and I mean, this is a guy, Sarah, it's worth noting that you go back to last year's semi-final, and he has been through so much with his body since then. He had the shoulder reconstruction, but the big one was the facial fracture. He spent 6 hours in an operating theatre in Sydney, then 15 hours in ICU because they had to shine a torch in his eye every 20 minutes to make sure there was no issue with his vision. Then he's been through the glute, but he's back. Came back last Thursday night and now could play a big role in another September push.
Isaac Heaney, Chad, when it comes to the Swans, he's coming off some game against the Roos. The Giants have vacillated with whether or not they use a tag and what Toby Bedford's role will be. But when that Ball is bounced on Friday night at NG Stadium. Do you imagine that Bedford just goes and finds Isaac Heaney and puts a little pressure on him?
Well, Isaac Heaney is one of the players that's really hard to tag. The reasons why is a great size. He's nearly 190 centimetres. He's explosive. He can win the ball inside, but he can go forward. And you see what happened. He kicked 5 goals on the weekend. So Tony Bedford's a little bit smaller than him. So if he does get the tag, if I was Heaney, I'd probably take him forward and try and expose him there, because Bedford did the job really well. Dacos, I know it was round 0, but I feel like Heaney's a different beast trying to contain, because he has so many elements to his game. So it's going to be a tough one for him.
And how about him at the end of the match? He's going, "Coach, I've just kicked my 5th. I've never kicked 6, Josh. Let me rest down forward."
It wasn't quite John Longmire and Joel Marty last year. I'd rate it from Dean Cox. That would have been a disaster if he went down the dying seconds.
On Friday night at Marvel Stadium, it is Essendon and the Western Bulldogs. And I feel like this signature was never really in doubt. The skipper, Marcus Bontempelli, signing on for 4 more years. And it's been a big week for both the captain and the club, Josh, because on Monday night he was ranked as the 2nd best Bulldog of all time. Quite the honour.
It was, Sarah, and you're right. This was never in doubt. The Western Bulldogs were never fearful that he was going to go elsewhere. It's just unusual that it took so long for this deal to be done, Chad, because this is a captain, a superstar of the competition, and it took until after round 19 for him to sign on. But now he's locked through to 2029. And as you touched on, a massive week for the Western Bulldogs and the Footscray Football Club with the unveiling of their top 25 players of the last 100 years. And he came in at number 2, just behind the great EJ Whitten. And I think it's worth pointing out the key part of the criteria was the impact on and off the field, which encompasses the Western Bulldogs spirit. And there's no one bigger than Mr. Football. And at 29-30, Bond's still got a bit of time to catch him.
Absolutely. Does he ever? And speak of catching, they've got to catch the 8, Chad. So I reckon let's bring up their run home, the Western Bulldogs, because they sit a game out of the 8. But it's a bit of an easier run home. As you can see there, they don't actually leave victorious. That's got to help.
Yeah, and they have to win every single game, in my opinion. I think it's going to come down to that round 24 against Fremantle. So that last round is going to be super important. So but they need to make sure they start this week. I mean, Essendon, GWS, Melbourne, they've got that GWS game's going to be a tough one. Yep. But I think they should be in the hunt for all those games then. What do you think, Josh?
No, I think they're going to have to win all 5.
Yep.
It's that situation right now. They're a game outside the 8. It's tough.
It's tough, and it's
tight.
big boy month indeed. On Sunday at the MCG, it's Collingwood and Richmond. We were going to pump up Beau McCreery here, but in breaking news, Josh, he's not going to be available.
No, another blow for Beau McCreery. He's done his hamstring again. He's going to miss 2, maybe 3 games. Coming off one not that long ago, only a month ago, and it is a blow, Chad, because we saw on Sunday how effective he is. And Craig McRae did point out post-game that his impact when he was out of the side was serious, because he's so dangerous around opposition defenders.
Yeah, and he's just defenders, but also when they chuck him in the midfield, he is super potent. He had 3 centre bounce clearances and I think 5 attendances. So when he gets in there, he's super explosive. I mean, 15 tackles. 15. That's insane. So he just impacts the game. And one of those guys, again, because you've got the Dacos around you, those kind of players, he goes under the radar.
All right, you two are going to get up to the wall, because we are getting to the end of the home and away season, which means we're getting to the silly season when all the awards are handed out. And I feel like there are a number of candidates, Josh, vying for Coach of the Year. You guys are going to take us through some of them.
Well, Sarah, the Coach of the Year should never just be the Premiership coach, because all 18 coaches are dealing with very different situations, Chad. But with 5 rounds to go, I think it's time to look at 6 of the leading contenders at this point of the year. Let's start with Adelaide, Chad, because they stayed the course with Matthew Nicks. This is season number 6. They haven't played finals since the 2017 Grand Final. They finished bottom 4 last year, but right now they're in the top 4, and he is making a compelling case to be considered the Coach of the Year. Yeah,
and the reason why he's building that case is, like you just said, he's the biggest mover in the competition in terms of win-losses since last year. And they're a chance to win on top of the ladder, and they're going to be top 4, you'd assume, if their run keeps going. But top 4 in offence and defence, I mean, the belief that this city has in Adelaide is huge.
Now, the past 2 Premiership coaches have been Chris Fagan and Craig McRae, of course. Collingwood and Brisbane sit 1 and 2 on the ladder. They're the flag favourites at this point in time. We know how hard it is to go back-to-back. We also know that Collingwood are defying the odds in terms of the age profile of their list. Who's coaching better right now?
It's pretty hard to split, but I think I'm going to be a little bit biased. I was under Fly at my time in Hawthorn, but what I love about him is, besides the win-losses, they're top of the ladder, but the culture that this club has brought in under Fly is super impressive. I go back to Crisps, that shot after the siren when he missed in his record-breaking game. the love that they showed for him, as well as when they, one of the moves that I love on the weekend is when they were tackling, the game was on the line, they actually stood up. And you could just see every moment of the game, they're well coached and they know what to do in every moment.
Chris Scott has reached a top 4 finish in 10 of his completed 14 seasons. They're in the top 4 again right now. Let's park the Cats because it's the same old story with Geelong. Damien Hardwick and the Gold Coast Suns, they're yet to play finals. This is their 15th season. It's Dimmer's second in charge. If he is to lead them to September, can he be the coach of the year?
Well, I think if they get into the top 4, they're a chance because they do have that one game up their sleeves. But if they make finals, he's definitely a contender. But again, they're one of the many teams up here that could miss the finals. And if they do, again, it could be the same old story for Gold Coast.
He is a big if, and so are the Gold Coast Suns right now. One to finish with is Adam Uze. Who saw this coming? Richmond won only 2 games in his first season at Punt Road. Last year, they had a massive exodus of players, moving clubs, retiring. This series had to deal with so many injury issues, yet they've won 5 games. I think it's a decent case to be considered amongst this field.
Well, I think it's because of the expectation. We expected Richmond, we were struggling to pick which game at the start of the season they were going to win. To win 5 games and to have that many injuries and the youthness not playing in their games, I think is the credit to him, but also the reason why he's on this list.
No Justin Longmuir on this list, Sarah. They've won 8 of their past 9.
Stiff.
The Dockers are coming.
They are absolutely coming, and that is the game we are going to next out west. It's the derby between the Dockers and the Eagles, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Patrick Voss backs up his career best game last week. 6 goals, and it was a role that was meant to be just for clamping down Darcy Moore. He did such a good job that it was Braden Maynard who went to him late, and Chad, you were there. He was really in a mood, wasn't he, Patrick Voss?
He was unbelievable. Watching him live, the ability for him to get split on the tall defenders was super impressive. He got Darcy Moore 3 times on a lead up, and he also was too smart for Maynard in terms of his body work. So he's an all-round player. We spoke about him early in the year, but first game of the MCG to kick 6 goals is super impressive. And you could see the swagger that he had about himself. I loved his game.
The prancing pony, it's just got a real aura to it. And it's one of those ones, Sarah, it's look away now, Essendon supporters, a bit like Massimo D'Ambrosio last year. Different situation, of course, but he did spend 2 years on the rookie list at Essendon. He was delisted after winning the VFL Best and Fairest. And right now, he's playing a key role as a key forward, and they're hard to find.
They are indeed. The Dockers are making a habit of coming from behind. They've got a big amount of belief. They say they're fit. I've got to say, though, this from Brennan Cox, the Dockers defender. It was the first time I've heard this one.
No, after 3/4 time, we looked to go into our fast, into a spinnaker we call it, which is we take the game on and play fast and look to take a few more risks, but not heaps of dangerous balls or anything, but try and access corridor a bit more and. So we come out after 3/4 time and just tried to take the game on a bit. Yeah, spinnaker. I think it's from a sailboat.
Yes.
So when the wind and really take off.
He's right. I had to look it up what a spinnaker was. Chad, I'm not sure if you knew what it was, but it's a sailing term. It's a big sail that they, I guess, let open when they want to absolutely let rip. And this was emblematic of the Dockers in that final term.
Yeah, again, I was at this game and you could see it was so evident in their ball movement. They were going through the corridor at all costs in that last quarter and they looked so potent. It gave their forwards great opportunity, but for Collingwood, they needed to defend it a little bit. It almost looked like they didn't quite scout them doing this, but that last quarter, it was super potent. And like I said, it's something that they can look at going forward into the finals if they make it. And like I said, look at that gap there. Look how much space they've got. And this kick here, this was unbelievable. I remember watching this. I mean, this kick to Luke Jackson and that mark, and then this here, the swagger, the aura, the celebration. This was the moment. This put him in front. And look at that. What a game that they finished with there. Unbelievable.
Are you surprised, Josh, they don't play a bit more like that all the time? Craig McRae, the Collingwood coach, had that cheeky little dig saying that when they go fast, they look pretty good.
Yeah, I am. I love the dig from Craig McRae because we've all been thinking it, haven't we? But when you do add Hayden Young back in, like he was in that last quarter with 11 touches, it does change things. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets going in the last 5 rounds of the season.
Let's move on to Marvel Stadium, where it's North Melbourne out to snap a 13-game losing streak against Geelong. And when it comes to the Cats, I feel like, Josh, they've found another one. I have the quotation marks up because Jack Martin has been in the AFL system for some time, but they got him for cheap and he's starting to do some nice things, potentially a wild card in September.
We should have seen this coming, shouldn't we, Sarah? I mean, this doesn't come as a great deal of shock. Geelong always find these players, but to sign Jack Martin as the delisted free agent last November looks like it could pay dividends now. Now, he had a nightmare run at Carlton, 54 games in 5 years, just the 3 last year, so many soft tissue issues. So it made complete sense that Carlton moved on from him. But the fact that he's played the last 6 games, have been really patient with him. We've seen him play across half-back. He went back to a forward role on the weekend, kick 2. He can play anywhere, and it just feels like he might have some big moments in September.
Speaking of big moments, this week we are celebrating 25 years of Marvel Stadium. So where else would we go for our top 5? These are the top 5 moments ever at Marvel.
James Hird, if anybody's going to get it, it'll be James. McDougall heads for the boundary line. Maybe Murphy should have kicked. Bullen. Hird! Hird! James Hird, you are a genius. Dishes up to Rioli. Rioli shorts it. Here's the moment. Franklin's got it. On 99 goals. Lambs, Franklin joins the 100 club. And people power has spoken. Out they come by their thousands. 99 goals for Brendan Favola. Cruiser to Favola. Favola, no, free kick. Free kick. It's a free kick to Liverpool.
They've had a handful of finals here, and I think this is the biggest game of AFL they've ever hosted. Well, he can almost go all the way here. He's given it a ride. Milne waits, but rooms come from nowhere. And the captain kicks the second. What an explosive start.
It's in his ballpark. Gardner! He's kicked it. It'll a month it's been okay. Some Kilda win.
Lalich doing well to Heffernan. Second time he's taken it out in a minute. Lucas read it best. Wrong side for him. Hooks it back. What a mark! Sensational! Unbelievable mark!
When that ball was kicked, I thought he's got no chance of marking it, and he's that hot. He just threw himself at it, and it stuck.
Got it to King. Penetrating kick inside the 50. McCartney behind. And McCartney has taken the mark. And listen to that roar. What a start to the term it would be. Jason McCartney knows how to kick them. Big Mark Stafford, too little too late. Fairy tales do come true.
I find it fitting now that I'll hang the boots up as of tonight and go out on a great note. Because I'm spent. It's been a tough time, but that's enough for me, mate.
Jason McCartney, a survivor of the Bali bombings, coming back, Josh, for, I mean, a few people would have known that would be one and done for him, and he went out in style. There's been some great moments over 25 years, hasn't there, at Marvel Stadium?
I love them all. I mean, the Jason McCartney one, I can remember that for being such a young guy and watching that at home. But the Gary Moorcroft mark, he almost hit the roof. Yeah. Poor Brad Johnson, he's had to watch that many times.
Many times, yeah. One more time, Jono. We might replay that one again a little later. But it's going to be Ken Hinkley's last showdown this weekend. His power taking on the Crows. Chad, I defer to you as someone who has been coached by the great man. He loves these occasions, doesn't he? How fired up will he be?
Oh, he's definitely going to be fired up. I think all the players will be too. You think about playing for Kenwell last time in the showdown. It's going to be a huge moment. And I think, like I said, there might be a bit of a visual, bit of a video presentation before the game to get the boys really fired up. But really looking forward to this. And it's going to be a great send-off because the showdowns mean so much in Adelaide, and the last one for Ken.
Well, just on that, like how much do they mean?
Oh, it means everything. I mean, if you, especially the last one of the year.
Yeah.
There's going to be another, 6 to 9 months till you play them again. So you need those bragging rights. Even if you're Port Adelaide, you want to win this one. Even if Crows play finals, you got the bragging rights over them for just that last part of the year. You need this one.
I love it. Let's get on to St Kilda and Melbourne, and it's Wingard's winner. And the question I've got for you, Keziah or Naziah, Chad, who is the Messiah? Both sides are struggling, but they've got these superstars who are in super hot form.
Yeah, the Wingard's winners this week is two of the most watchable players, I think, in the competition at the moment in Cozzy and Naz. And I love that we've put them in the midfield. You look at Naz here, he's been implemented into the midfield, and look at the difference. I mean, disposals, he's already been inflated stats, Josh with 29, but to have 5 more disposals a game, nearly 4 clearances, you see the score involvements, and even the player rating. You think about he's having a stellar year as a half backup, but now he's been put into the midfield, and you think about, is he going to be strong enough, is he worry enough? He is, because he's quick enough, and he's so clean under the knee, and like I said, that one centre clearance that he had last week, I think it might be shown here, which is just a wrap onto his right foot and just this kick at full pace, just lace out. I mean, that's what St Kilda have been missing, and it's taken so long to put him in there. But like I said, if he does stay around, it's going to be something of the future.
Could be one of the best midfielders in the comp. He's already probably the best halfback, but he could be. He's got the tools, doesn't he, to be one of the best mids? Yeah, unbelievable. And then you think about Cozzy as well, just his year that he's having, he started in the midfield this year, and he's averaging nearly 20 disposals and 2 goals a game. Hasn't happened those stats in nearly 10 years. And look at the stats here: the centre clearances, the score involvements, shots at goal. Everything's just through the roof because he's around the ball. He doesn't have a guy on his back. But this week he's come up against St Kilda. And last time, Wingard got the better of him. He had kept him to 12 disposals. We were there.
Yes, we were there. And Wingard had 28 disposals and 5 clearances himself. So I think Cozzy, again, this week is going to step up because he's going to have that in the back of his mind that he got done last time and he's in fine form. So the Wingard's winner this week is who's going to step up the most, who's going to be the game changer. And like I said, this is just going to be a game that sit down, get your popcorn and really enjoy the show. Now up to 35 goals. He's a lock for All-Australian. 100%.
All right, Chad, Josh, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us on The Round Ahead. Thanks to Coles. Enjoy this weekend's footy.